Hey friend, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome to the channel. And if you are wondering why I haven't posted a video in a while, you'll be able to tell by the thumbnail of this video. But before we get into that, check out our new intro. It's been quite a tough time. It's been quite a ride. And I think this video is also just a way of like processing it as well, like the final things that has happened, the final goodbye, the final like, yeah, that's happened and we've learned lessons and the way forward, this is how we're gonna do it, etc. So as you can see from my background, it's like so relaxed right now. I usually set up an area to record and I was just like, nope, we are doing things differently. My hair isn't even straightened because this is just how it is usually. I'm usually at my desk. I work here, I study here, I do everything here. Learn a lot here. It's a lot of learning that happens and growth that happens right at this desk. Literally like all my theology studies there, and I've got Bibles on the side here. And yeah, it's a special place for me. And it has been a special place for me for the last, maybe like 7 years or so. Lots of crying that has happened here, lots of questioning, lots of planning, lots of strategies with God, lots of praying. This is where I do my Bible studies, my praying, like everything. I have my prayer closet as well, but a lot happens here, and this is just a special place for me. With the type of person that I am, I don't think a desk would be a special place for most people, but this is just the type of person that I am, and the things I work on, creating things, etc., and studying the Word of God and working and all that. Like a lot happens there, and I spend most of my days here. So very humble, very different. We've only stayed in this house for about almost 5 months now, or around 5 months now. And yeah, I have a full-time job. Before I say that, like I'm literally with the mic today just because the weather is super bad. It is super windy here in Cape Town, but I mean it's lovely still, so it's all cool. But I just have this mic in case the sound isn't great, then I can just draw the sound from it. Not that that really matters to you. Anyway, but yeah, it was quite a difficult time here. I just think it's funny because if you look at my socials, the last time, and it's so funny, but the last time I posted a video on my socials was the last time where I checked in on how things were going, and I literally like said like everything's been going so well, and it had. Like it's gone, like the move, everything, there was such a supernatural like covering over us, and everything just happened so beautifully, and the provision and the move and all of that. And literally like a week or so after that, like my whole world just crumbled. And I am aware that there are people that has gone through much worse than what I went through, and I don't want to take away from that. I'm literally just sharing my story, and as I said, it's a way for me to process it, for the like finalizing it, like ending this chapter and moving on to the next chapter, and also just maybe someone can learn from it, or you know, and not do what I did. So the type of personality that I have, I love doing multiple things. I'm having businesses and stuff like that for many years, and freelancing, but still like kind of being your own boss in a sense of having, it means that you're responsible for your own income, so obviously you're going to work hard. And I've always been someone that loves working hard. I remember getting my first job at the age of 16, and I would work at, I don't know if in South Africa, Ocean Basket, and I would work at Ocean Basket. As soon as I turned 16, I got that job. And I just wanted, the only reason was because, like, my parents, they were like, we are buying only clothes from these certain stores, and if you don't like it, well, tough. Like, that it is how it is. And even though we had everything we needed, and I mean, it was perfectly fine, but you know, if you want to be part of like the cool kids and you want to wear like name brands and you want to wear like really nice clothing, etc. And so I was like, the only way I can do that is by earning extra money. And also I wanted money to like go out with friends more often, you know, and go to the movies, go shopping and all that. And so yeah, that's when I started working, and I would work like on weekends and school holidays, etc. And it was great. I learned a lot, but like from that age, I've always just worked hard nonstop. And the only times, I want to say the only times, but I would rest when I'm on maternity leave with the children. And so I've been on maternity leave quite a few times with all the children. And even when on maternity leave, I would always plan like, what's my next move? Like, what am I going to do? Or if I was working at that time, I would plan, you know, how can I bring in additional income? I've always been business minded, always thinking of new ideas, how money and like a additional income can be generated, etc. And so I've always just, my mindset has always been focused a lot on that. And career, like basically what are you doing? From what I can, then about after school, I mean, I got married, had children, and then I remember I've always had a second income. I always had a part-time job, something else that I would do, if that was selling things, baking and selling cupcakes and cakes, etc. Whatever it was, like I would just get down and do it. I would just work really hard to get money in. And so I've always worked hard. It is the type of person, or the personality that I have, the mindset that I have. And I do know that I would get questioned about it a lot, because I've been studying also part-time for many, many years, even with small babies. So it's just, I've been questioned about it many times, or people would ask me, how do I do it? Or why do I feel a need of having to do so much, or doing different things? And it's just who I am. And even though I want to always use it with a lot of wisdom, it's at the same, I had this wrestling with this for quite some time. And I've always felt like the parable of the talents, where God gives everyone a certain amount, and what are you going to do with that? Now, I know that in the Bible, the context that they use it in there is with regards to like the talents, like actual like money, or that God gave to 3 different people. One got 1 talent, the second one got 3 talents or 2 talents, I can't remember. And the third one, that's very bad for me not remembering. This is not prepared, by the way. And then the third one was 5 talents, and the one with 1 talent buried it under the ground. The one with, I think it was 2 talents, doubled his amount. And the one with 5 talents, I actually can't remember. I need to check. Hang on. So it is actually 2 talents. So yeah, in case anyone was unsure or probably knew this, I, for a second, doubted myself. So let me just go to scripture and just read it. So it's parable of the talents, and this is in Matthew chapter 25, and it says, For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his ability, his or her ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. And so also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. And he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered me 5 talents. Here, I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He is also who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of the master. He also who had received the 1 talent came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap what I have not sown and gather where I scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. That's so detailed, but obviously this video is not planned. Otherwise I would have prepped everything prior, but I just had to share that whole scripture with you. And so the way that the way I see it is that the parable of the talents, it's not only referred to monetary value or value in money form of what God gives some people more money, or to do more with, etc. But I do feel that that's also with regards to your actual natural talents, your actual natural abilities, and what God gives you. What has God given you that you are good at? And some of us know what we're good at. Some of us are still trying to find or see what you are good at. Maybe you're not sure what that is. I'm actually going to post a video on how to biblically help you with that, to discover your purpose, basically. But so I just feel that God gives some people more. I know, in my instance, I can do more, and that's just my ability to do more. I'm not better than anyone else. I'm not. There's people who literally do one thing, or a full-time job or whatever, and they do it with excellence, and God's happy with that. That's what God has asked of them. But I know that in the season that I've in and have been in for many years, that God has given me multiple things, and I've always strived for excellence in all of them. And so with my job, I also work a full-time job, and I worked many additional overtime hours consecutively for almost a month, and I reached burnout. And because I'm studying, I've other businesses, etc. So just, if there's not that balance, rest is so important. Rest is crucial for all of us, and we have to be so careful. And I have to constantly remind myself that I need to rest. And even when you're resting or have your day of rest, not to feel guilty about, I could have been doing this or I could have been doing that, because I tell you now, reaching burnout, it isn't fun. And I wish I could say that this was my first time reaching burnout, but it isn't. I've reached burnout multiple times and I'm not proud of it. And it's something that I am working on and I will continue to work on. And that's why changes has to be made. And so with the burnout, I took almost 2 months off. Initially, it was a week to 2 weeks off, and I thought, okay, I will just take an extra few weeks off from even just this platform as well. And I went to go see the doctor, and I was a mess. I mean, I couldn't control my emotions. I was crying the whole time, even in meetings. I was so overwhelmed. I was so overexhausted. I couldn't plan or think of solutions for this, or plan or make any decisions. I struggled even making decisions on what to cook that night, or what to do with regards to a chore, or the simplest of things that things that I should be able to do as a mother as well, and just anything. I was incapable of doing any of that without crying, or just have like this anger inside and just not coping. And went to the doctor and got booked off and got all the help I needed, and lots of rest. And then 3 days after being booked off in order for me to rest, get well, it was a Friday night, and we went out to the shop to just go get cool drinks. And I so desperately wanted to stay home. I was in my gown. It was like 8 o'clock at night on a Friday night, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just resting. And my husband was insisting that I go to the shop with him and the children, and I was like, you guys are literally just going to buy cool drinks, like, why? Usually it's not a train smash, but he was like literally like insisting that I go. And I remember just looking at him and just like, sigh and just be like, fine. And I with my gown went to the car, literally sitting in the car like so spoiled and ungrateful, and oh yeah, there's a lot I need to work on, I do know. And it's just, and we went to the shop. We were literally gone for 15 minutes because we left at 8 o'clock. We drove out the yard on a Friday night at 8 o'clock, and we were back at 8:15. And then when we got back, we saw that the front door was open, or we saw the front gate was open, and we were like, why? It didn't hit us straight away in those few seconds. And as soon as I walked in, it was me and the children, and as soon as we walked in, everything was gone. Like everything. I don't know how they got to clean us out in such a short time. Literally, like I said, 15 minutes. We're assuming that they were probably still in the yard when we got there. We have a yard at the back, so we're assuming that they're probably on there, or somehow, I don't know how they did that. Definitely had a car. They stole TVs, laptops, hard drives, jewelry, bedding, like duvets, clothes, smartwatches. And the worst part was, because we went to the shop so quickly, we thought, no, we'll leave the phones at home. So I had my phone, my husband had his phone, but the kids, they all have their own phones. And we were like, or like tablets, etc. And we were like, no, we're just going to leave them on the charging station, because we're going to be back like really soon. The shop is literally close, to the house. And everything was taken, all this my smart, like everything, like every electronic device was taken, ripped like out. Drawers was like thrown upside down, like things were literally on a scavenge hunt. They took microwave that was a week old, our toaster, our kettle. They tried to even take the fridge, but you could see that they were in a hurry and they stopped. So I think that was probably when we drove into the house. Just everything. Everything. So that was very tough. Number one, because we didn't have insurance. We still working hard to get to a point where we could get household insurance. I mean, if you have medical aid, it's like, yeah, we got medical aid, we got this and that, but we didn't. And I mean, you got insurance on the car and all that, but we did not have household insurance. And so everything was taken, and the emotions, like having to deal with not only you being scared, but trying to be brave and trying to put on a brave face, and your children being so scared. Like traumatized, scared. Like, yeah, it was very bad. It was just it was a very, very difficult time. This was also our third break-in, where our belongings were stolen the first time. And might I add, all 3 times we're in 3 different houses. It's just... you question a lot, and like I questioned a lot, and I literally, for like almost a week, I lost it. I was so mad. I was so confused. I was so angry and just thinking like, why, God? Why? Like, why? Everything was going so well, and we all worked so hard for what we have, and I mean, we didn't have, like, I don't know, it's just, it was very difficult. The thing that hit me the most, because they've cleared us out of jewelry about 2 years ago, and they stole all my jewelry, my wedding ring, like everything, when we got robbed that time, and also cleaned out. And so we're just like, you can't get to a stage where you don't even want to build your life, like with regards to jewelry and stuff like that. You just, it's one of those things. But the thing that hit the hardest was the mental health of the children and us, me, my husband, all of us. We were traumatized, very scared for a very long time. And the thing that hit me the most, that I struggled with, was that my laptop was stolen. My laptop was only a few months old, and I had to buy this laptop in order for working purposes and stuff, or upgrade the laptop to like a better laptop, and it wasn't insured. It was on the list to get insured, but we just, after the move, we just haven't had a chance to actually still get to that. We had quotes, but we haven't had the chance to do that. And they got the hard drive, which had all the children's memories, all of our wedding things, birth videos, like everything, even from my childhood. So like all the photos, all the videos was backed up on this hard drive, which they also took. And the problem was that with my new laptop, I still had to back up the content on it, so all the thousands of photos and videos, to my cloud, and my cloud only saved a few, and then I had to upgrade the space again, and I didn't get to it before they took the laptop, so it meant that I've lost like all of that, and then I could only get back the last few recent ones. So that was very terrible to go through. It was terrible, not just going through that and having to replace all of that, and I mean, not in a position where you can just like throw money around. I mean, so it's been really difficult. It's been the most difficult time that I've ever been through. I literally questioned everything. I mean, I remember we went to church and we still like literally this was the Friday night, and Sunday we went to church, and for the first time in my whole life, I could not worship. I could not, for the first time in my life, I could not worship God. I literally stood there crying and with my hands folded, and I just refused. I refused to pray. I refused to sing. I was so mad. I was so angry with God. I was so hurt and confused and at all these questions. And I remember coming back home that day, and I just climbed in bed and I didn't want to do anything. And it feels so silly, but it wasn't just the having the carpet ripped out like underneath you. My mental health was already not in a good space with the burnout. So being booked off for burnout and 3 days into trying to recover, this happening, it was just like I lost it. I couldn't function, and I couldn't sleep. Was constantly like shaking and stuff, and just being super scared. And you're trying to be brave for the children and tell them not to be scared, but you like inside you're not sleeping. You're not, you can't function. And yeah, it's been so tough. And I just remember that day laying in the bed, and my husband came to me, and I just cried so much, and I was just like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to be a Christian anymore. And I said, I'm so mad at God, and I don't want to live this life. And I said, the worst part about it is that I can't deny God. I know He exists. I know Jesus exists. I've seen it. Like, my whole life is a testimony. Everything I've been through, I know He's there. I know that, I know He exists. But I was so mad that I didn't want anything to do with Him. I wanted Him to leave me alone, leave my family alone, just leave us alone. And it was a very, very terrible time. And I told my husband that it's just so complex and difficult, because my whole life is built around my faith. Like, Jesus is the foundation of my whole life. Everything I do, the reason I wake up, everything I do, every ounce of me, my being, it revolves around God. It revolves around the Lord and everything. And so it really hurt, because I was like, I only have, most of my friends are only Christians. All of my life, my work, my everything revolves around Him. There's nothing where I can shut down. And so it was just very difficult thing. And I was just so mad. And one of my friends, a very dear friend of mine, told me that, you know what? It's okay to be cross. It's okay to be angry at God. And she said, but she encouraged me to take that to God. And I was like, I don't want anything to do with Him right now. I don't want to pray. Nope. Feeling very sorry for myself. And she was just like, just take it to God. Just tell Him how you just say it. Just even though He knows. It's okay to tell God that, you know what, God, this hurts. This ain't fun. I'm angry and I'm hurt. And I don't want to worship You. I don't want to pray. I am hurting. And back then I couldn't even see a way out. Like, I knew that I'll probably get over it, but it was such terrible few days that I just couldn't see it. And things got better. Went back to work, and I just put everything on hold. Like, the channel was on hold, the businesses were on hold, everything that I did was on hold. I didn't respond to messages, nothing. Like, everything in my life was on hold, just because I tried to recover from everything, recover from the burnout, giving myself rest, giving myself grace to work through it, and just shutting the whole world off. And all I relied on was God. And I had my family. We are moving. So we're literally moving in a few days' time. And I was thinking of only posting this after we've moved. And so I can have everything perfect. And so I can have the background perfect. And so that everything would be perfect. My sound would be perfect. I wouldn't have to need my mic today. And that everything will just be perfect. That my hair will be straightened. That I wouldn't have a pimple on my face. That everything will just be perfect. And it's just... I had to just decide that, you know what, if I'm going to do this channel, the whole point of it is just to not put myself on a pedestal. The whole point of it is not to pretend that everything's 100% okay, to pretend that everything's always good. Sometimes we go through crappy times. Like, sometimes we go through things where we question God, like, why? I feel like you led us to this, like, why? Then shortly after that, we got news that my mother was in hospital, and she was found unconscious on the floor. Luckily, she messaged my dad to say she wasn't feeling well and asked him to come home, and he was literally there 5 minutes after, because he works close to the house. And he got there and she was found like unresponsive on the floor, and they had the ambulances and all that there. And with my parents staying, if you have to drive, it's a 12-hour drive from where we stay. And when I got the news, I was still like, well, we can't go. We don't want to leave the house alone. We've literally been robbed, like everything taken. And at the same breath, like, even though like everything was taken, like, I need to just say this, and that we have been blessed so much. Like, after that, like, we've had anonymous donation, or well, it's not really anonymous, we kind of knew who it was, but we had donations from people at my husband's work, financial like donations. We have physical items, microwaves given, and kettles given because ours was stolen. Financial like help that we received from family and stuff. And yeah, so even though the bad and like happened, like, there was so much of God's goodness and provision, and I'm so thankful for them and grateful to them for helping our family, etc. But yeah, I just have to say that with even the bad that happened, there was good that came from it as well, and we're very grateful for it. But when we received the news that my mom was in hospital, I was shocked, but I still tried to like calm down, etc. And my husband came home early, and it was a Friday, and he's like, let's pack and let's go drive. And I was like, oh my goodness, finances. But God just provided, and yeah, we're very grateful. And we got to go home for the weekend. I call it home because it's my hometown. And we were there, family and seeing friends, etc. And it was so good. And my mom, there was a few things with regards to her health and stuff, and diagnosis and stuff like that. But they're working through it, and it's good. She's doing really good. I mean, she was just in hospital for 4 days, and then she got released, but she's getting great medical care still, and seeing specialists and stuff like that. So she's doing really, really good in her health aspect for now. Everything seems good. I do think that it was necessary for us to go back, because the funny thing about it is that the night that we left, the night that they broke in here into this house, the night that we drove in the car to go buy those cool drinks, that was the night that we told the children that we were going to go visit our friends and family back home on this specific weekend, which was a long weekend. And so we told them the surprise that we've been working on, because we were going to surprise our family as well. And we told them, okay, we're like literally going in like 2-3 weeks time. And after the break-in, we obviously cancelled it and thought, no, we definitely told them we're not. We literally like, there's no way, because if we have to like buy things back and replace things, like there's no way. Then when obviously we got the phone call, we drove, and on our way there, did we only realize that we literally in my hometown the weekend that we told the children and planned on being back home to see family and friends. And it's just like insane how I know that's all God. And even though it's not the type of situation, you don't want it to happen that way. But I've had it so many times where God would use a bad situation and use it for good. And we knew that was God, because we literally wanted to go and we were looking so forward to it. And our hearts were broken, also because we couldn't, it meant with the break-in that we couldn't go. And yeah, so it was a lot of things right after each other, literally within like 2 weeks. So yeah, I took a lot of time off, and now I'm back. And I have to say that when we went to church, our church were talking about Ephesians chapter 6, if I remember it correctly. Yeah, Ephesians chapter 6. And the pastor was, we all know the passage of the armor of God, etc., but there's a part in it that talks about remain standing when the enemy attacks, when you're facing difficult times, to remain standing. And I remember him teaching and sharing this, and I was just like, man, that just like hit me, like, when there's just like a word and like, this is exactly what I needed to hear. And so the next weekend is when we went to my hometown, and we went that Sunday to our old church. And when they started preaching, they're like, today we're going to preach from Ephesians chapter 6. And I was just like, oh man, like, seriously, Lord? Like, you want to make sure that I hear this. And the pastor just went, he just talked about remain standing. And I actually want to read the passage. I have it open here, and it says, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over the present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand firm. Stand therefore, having fastened on the belt of truth, and having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and as shoes for your feet, having put on the readiness given by the gospel of peace. In all circumstances take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming darts of the evil one, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying at all times in the Spirit, with all prayer and supplication. And I still wrote, remain standing. This is like it just kept coming up, remained standing. And the only thing that helped was God with all this. And it's so funny where I like rejected him for those few days. And I had to go back to the secret place with him, or the quiet place with him, and just spending a lot of time with him. And he just healed everything. And even though our outer circumstance may not be the way we would want it to be, or look the way we would hope it would look like right now, we have so much peace within. And even though we're still going through things, we're literally in the midst of right in the middle of like going through things, but it's good, and we're just so grateful, and we're looking forward to it. So with the whole change in the channel, it's just so funny because like I literally, before going offline for a while, like I literally had new intros and outros designed, and like everything with the whole new brand and the new look, etc. for the channel. And so it was so funny when all this like literally happened. I had this massive encounter with God before the breaking and all that, like this massive encounter with regards to my purpose and stuff in the current city that we're in. And it like, I'll share it in a different video, but like, you know, when you hear of people that, or if you know people who have had encounters with, I know a lot of us have had encounters with God, and if you haven't, pray into it. But a lot of us would have, you know, those encounters where just it alters your life, changes everything. Everything changes. And had that with God. And literally like a week or two, all this happened. So I was well aware, even going through all the anger, I was well aware that it was a spiritual attack. I knew it because I know how it. I don't know everything, but I mean I could feel and sense that it was it. So we've had also lots of people cover us in prayers and for angels to like be with us and all that. And I know that they have been, because everywhere I just see white feathers. And so yeah, but that's for a different video. But I know that we've been protected, and I know that the enemy has so many schemes and things that he's trying to do. And especially if you're on your verge of breakthrough, sometimes it will happen. And going through stuff like this, you learn a lot. And with learning comes growth. If you apply it, obviously, and learn from it. But so this whole channel will redirect a bit, being more authentic, being more, even though I've always tried to aim for that, my background sometimes will just be where I am at that point in the house. I'm not going to try and create a beautiful green screen and have everything perfect, and my shirt is a bit creased, and it just is what it is. This is what it is. This is me. This is it. Like, yeah. So, fun times. On that note, we have great merch. That is merging with the online store. We actually had, I had a business that I kept separate, and then we'll be merging with my Christian friend, because we do Christian, it says redeemed, like cap, which is pretty cool. We have a few goodies on there. So the online Christian store is merging with my Christian friend. So that is coming, which we're very excited about. And I'll have on there these caps. They go for, if you're in South Africa, they're for $150. I try and keep the price as low as I possibly can. And we have some shopping bags on there, and then we have a whole bunch of stuff that's in the design phase and in the finalizing phase. So once that is finished, we will post it on there. And so yeah, we're excited for that merge of the online store and my Christian friend, which is going to be awesome. We have a lot of videos coming up, but we are taking a short break because we're moving to a new house in a safer area as well. So we will be taking a short break for a short while, but we will be back online. I'm still going to I'm going to try posting, but I'm not going to put pressure on myself to post, to try and get the algorithms right, because we're trying to please the algorithms so that this video can be pushed out to multiple people. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. It really helps the channel and this ministry. And if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. I know it's more of a life update. It's not the usual videos that I do, but if you like this video, it just pushes it out to more people. People can see this content and this channel. And yeah, that'll be awesome. I always love seeing the stats. I love seeing the countries people are watching from. And I'm like, just like, oh, yeah, thank you. So that's it for today's video. Now you know why I've been so quiet. But yeah, I look forward to the next video. And I have received multiple things to chat about, questions that you have, and all that, and we will be addressing it in the videos to come. I'm looking very forward to it. And yeah, so be good. I pray that God will continue to be with you and that He may continue to bless you. Bye, guys.